All right, it looks like the connection is working. Everything is up and running. It's good to see everybody. How are you doing here? Thank you so much for giving me a couple minutes to get set up this morning. I was grabbing tarot decks from my boxes. The first few that came through are what we'll be using today, and I'm still getting set up in the new space. So the only thing that I didn't have a chance to do was a quick live last night. So if you have any problems hearing or seeing me, just go ahead and pop it into the chat here at the beginning, and I'll take care of it. But good to see all of you. As you know, I've recently relocated, and it's been a long, crazy ride here, but the internet is up and running. I've got a little space here in the office set up, and Apollo's right behind me, chilling out by the window, and hopefully you enjoy the new space here. I'll keep you posted as I continue to kind of get settled in here. So good to see all of you today. It was kind of interesting. Someone in the chat was saying, hurry up, hurry up. You know, the one thing that I've learned throughout the whole year of 2022 is nothing good comes of hurrying. That is how I got injured. And I'm not picking on the person. I'm just sharing my own experience here because that typically was what I would do prior to this year. Like hurry, 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 try to do it all yourself. And what I've learned is it's so important to slow down, to be present, and to also, ask others for help, which is what I did over the process of this summer as I had to do a few intermittent moves. And then also with this, there's a part of me that used to be very much a control freak, trying to always make sure everything was perfect, and I had to do it. And that's actually how I got the injury. I was taking an extra load over to an Airbnb while I was just kind of getting ready to do some of the interim moves. So no, I don't hurry, and I don't try to do everything myself, and I'd rather wait and delay something and make it good than to rush something. So that was one of my learnings this year, was to just basically slow down, be present, and took a couple days off with the daily card reads because I need to rest, and there was a lot of things here that I have to deal with. So I'll get back into that for tomorrow. I'll probably try to do one later today, and I'll do it a day ahead. I know you guys were always upset with me when I did it the day of. So I'll try to do one the day after so that it's basically you can kind of project it ahead. So anyway, welcome everybody. Lots of chatting here. This is for the sign of Virgo. We're going to be taking a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks. This is my home. I'm not in an Airbnb anymore. It's going to take me a while to get everything unpacked and everything settled. But Apollo's already, like I said, chilling out behind me. He's happy. Okay, so most of you know how this works, but if you're brand new, let's get into the reading here. So this can be used for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We'll be taking a look at energy, mostly for sun sign, but you can use this for sun, rising, moon, Venus, any aspect of your chart. If you happen to know your Vesta, this and that, it doesn't matter to me. Like, you can use it for all of that. But I typically look at sun, rising, moon, and Venus is fine too. Those are the main sort of focal points. And it gives you a nice full rounded view of your month ahead to do that. So let's chat about what's going on next. We're going to take a look at the channeled messages in just a second. If you're brand new though, do hit like and subscribe so you can stay in touch. And I have to shift some of the times around as I'm getting settled here. So today, it may just be announced without any previous notice. So you want to make sure you're part of the notification team here, and I appreciate that. You can also follow me on socials. I did try to put a quick note out to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter before I got started here today. I'm also on some new and emerging ones. I'm testing out Mastodon to see if it works, and some other ones. So you can follow me on my, you can go to my website to get all those official links. A reminder, I don't give private readings. I get a lot of questions. I don't give it for members, for viewers, for anybody. I'm here for the original content and a chance to really connect with all of you. So if anybody's offering any of those, you know that it's not me. And if you'd like to give back or become a part of this community, you can also do SuperStickers, Super Chat, and the little dollar sign is a way to join as well. Okay, so let's talk about channeled messages first and foremost. Because I was delaying things for a couple of nights, I was receiving so many. You have a triple totem today. Let me pull the presentation up and we'll talk about this. So dreams are primarily where I received most of your totems. And again, you got it in triplicate today. So we're making up for lost time. Oh, that's right. I need to move this around. So give me a second because we have a new setup here. So I'm going to, in real time, let's see if we can do this. Woohoo! So we'll move it over to this side. And I'll shift over here a little bit. How's that? Real-time edits for Virgo. All right, so we have some cool stuff that we're looking at today. We're going to be looking at the energy of a film projector, the octagon, and the candle. All of these are cool symbols that actually are going to help you out quite a bit. So in dreams, I was actually shown what looked to me like a projector, but it also reminded me kind of like if you were a kid and you ever played with a flashlight and there was sort of like, you can use your fingers to make monsters on the wall and stuff like that. So there's actually a deck that has this, Tarot de St. Croix. We have the Fool card, and you can see him making those sort of finger monsters on the wall. I like this card too because it combines a couple of different things. We have like an entryway to the moon card behind it because it's pretty much the imagery I'd associate with the moon, but also the Fool. So not being afraid to embark on a new path, not being afraid to ask questions or look into the parts of your life that might scare your hopes and dreams, and then taking that leap of faith. Now let's kind of geek out a little bit on something that I didn't even know how to, a term, but shadowgraphy, I guess is what you call that, or ombramani. So basically it's the performance of those sort of, like I said, shadows using usually something like a candle or a lantern. And this sort of stuff has fallen into disuse now that we're so modern and we have like iPads and phones that we can watch everything on. But some of you might remember that when you were a kid or you went camping or something. It's basically saying look beyond illusions. And a lot of times what looks like it could be scary or bizarre is actually just a projection. Someone else's fear or someone else's manipulation of the light, right? Because that's what the shadow is. It's a manipulation of light. And whenever there's a shadow, there's also a light source. So rather than dealing with the shadow figure, the manipulator, the in-between person, go to the source. And that's really what this whole totem was about. Take the middleman out, go straight to the source. Avoid gossips, rumors, or hearsay. People can say whatever they want. This is the beauty of free speech. This is the beauty of the internet, but it's also the flip side. People can just make stuff up and put post, right? So try to actually be discerning, ask questions, and think to yourself, does this sit well with me? Does this sound like it's logical? Because one of the things that we've lost a bit over the past 20 years, it's been a 20-year decline on this, but I would say it's the ability to question, does this make sense? And also we see people do a lot less research. I'd rather be late and do some research, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's just posted without any backup. So you'll always want to have quote unquote receipts. If there's no receipts, it's just talk. Go to the source, get the information, and don't get stressed out. Okay? This is a perfect card and a perfect sort of energy connecting all of that together. Okay. The power of projection. Like a movie projector, you have the ability to help others see your vision. Plain and simple. So when we're thinking of projection, that's what came through. Also, I think of being the star. Shining the way, shining your light on something. Be the source of the projection and avoid being distracted or dissuaded by the projections of others. Projection is a fancy word also for like communication that could or may not be true. It's basically their fears, their ideas, and we get imprinted a lot. So most of us, when we move away from home, we start to see the world with a different lens. So for better or for worse, sometimes our parents imprint and project their view of the world. And then once we kind of get out of the nest, we start to talk to different people that have different points of view. We start to have life experiences that change our lenses, and we start to see things differently. So don't be afraid to see things differently and to use your own discernment. That's kind of like the common thread as I'm looking at all of these, to really make sure that things sit right with you. The other thing here is to focus on, when we're looking at projection, it is simple body language and things that you're controlling in your physical body. So your posture, the tone of your voice. Also, for those of you in theater or music, if you're performing, you know about projection. How far can you project your voice? Working with that instrument is going to be really important. And also your word choice. How casual, how crass, how articulate are you, and how does that affect the audience? You really want to tailor it for the audience and be the star, okay? Be the guiding light, I think, is what I could have also put here as well. All right, if you are the projector, you're the guiding light. Throughout time, okay, now we're going to move on from the projection to the octagon, and it's very unusual. I don't normally get sort of the like geometric shapes that often. So the interesting thing with this is it had symbolism that I didn't even know, and that's what's kind of fun. When I've had past life flashbacks, try saying that 3 times fast. When I've had a past life regression or flashback, a lot of times I've learned things that I didn't know in school, or I didn't know until I kind of researched. I'm like, oh, that actually happened. This isn't just a dream. This is something deeper. So with the octagon, here's what I found out. First of all, it is a symbol in architecture and also in religion and even feng shui that represents regeneration, rebirth, and renewal. So of course I would choose the judgment card here because that's everything that this card represents. So the octagon connected me to the judgment card. But there's some fun facts about this. It's used in baptismal fonts. So basically that's a fancy word for that thing that you put a baby in and you bathe them in if you're going to baptize them. And again, it's because of the 8th day being something of an everlasting day. So pay attention to the 8th day of the month, and then also the 8ths, like the 16th, et cetera, et cetera. So every 8 days, there could be something important going on between now and between the end of January. The other thing here is space efficiency. So we're looking at being efficient, doing more, but doing more within the confines of what you already have. You don't have to like recreate something. Don't repeat old cycles. Reinventing, I think, is going to be really what you want to think about, especially as we're looking at this nexus between December and January. It's a really vital, exciting, interesting period. We're going to be looking today, by the way, I didn't mention it at the beginning, at 4 extra cards where we're going to kind of dig into the 4 quarters of next year. So that's something special I'm doing for each sign. I'll be doing a 12-month spread also when we get into the New Year's Eve special. But anyway, with or without all of that, what you could be doing right here, right now is setting your intentions for the year ahead so that you can really make some amazing impacts right now. Why wait until the 31st or the 1st? Now is the time, okay? An octagon also is what we see on a stop sign, right? And basically the command stop. Hanged Man and death are also connected with this as well. It's time to take stock in your life, redirect your energies and intentions, and release any areas that are creating blockages or stagnation. Now let's talk about the candle, which was the final of the 3 totems. It's a chance for you to reclaim or ignite or reignite your inner spark. I have a gas fireplace in my living room in this place, which is lovely, but I have someone coming over today because there's usually a little igniter switch and it's not working. So just like a car has an ignition, the gas stove has that little thing that clicks and ignites. You may be looking for that, but the internal combustion, the internal spark is something that you can create. So if you've been spending a lot of time thinking like, I wish I could be more like this person, or how did they get that? Why don't I have this? That's your internal spark saying, don't worry so much. Let's create it. Let's get inspired by that, but let's not feel like it's something that we have to, yearn after or feel like we're on the outside looking in. Let's create that. So the Hermit holds the star, holds the spark, and it is a time for introspection. How do you find the spark? Well, what makes you excited about getting up in the morning? What makes you curious? What makes you angry? What makes you happy? Whatever makes you feel, those are sparks, and you can decide what you want to do with those sparks. You can change something that makes you upset. You can make something bigger if it makes you happy. So go to the combustion, go to the spark, and don't seek the answers from others. Go within. That's really all of the energy of the Hermit. And you are the source. We've been talking about going back to the source through several of these slides, and the continual sort of piece here is that now you're the source. So don't look to others, make it yourself, all right? I think we've got it all there. So let's quickly review, and then let's get into the next portion of the reading. So we had a triple totem today. I haven't had that in a long time, and I think it's because I had 2 or 3 nights to meditate on your sign. Film, projector, octagon, and candle. So we're talking about shadows and light, manipulation of light, going to source, not trusting everything you hear or see without asking questions, without doing your own homework. You are curious, discerning, and wise. Use those 3 things to your benefit. Avoid gossip, rumors, and hearsay. Be the star, be the projector, be the source of light, be the guiding light, especially when you're in the face of those sort of shadow figures. Use things like your posture, your tone of voice, and your word choice to amplify that light. Out with the old, in with the new. We're right here on the precipice of 2023. So reinvent, don't repeat cycles. Stop and redirect and consider what's going on. Hanged man, death. Hangman is a pause. Death is a beginning of something new. An end of the old, the beginning of something new. If there's stagnation, if you're not able to move in a direction that you want, then this represents a time where it's important for you to make that move. And then finally, reigniting and reconnecting with your inner spark. It's always been there. Just, right now, you're starting to reclaim, realize, and reconnect with all of that. So now we're going to get back into the main portion here. We're going to look at the Celtic Cross. I chose the Afro Goddess deck because it was the first one on top of the box that I had. And I'm going to have to take these other cards out of the boxes as I do it. So there'll be a little bit of juggling and noise in the background. Thank you for being patient as I get everything set up. All right, let's turn this to the side. Well, I'll just put it in a little bit. There we go. I can't remember the last time I've just been able to sit down. It's actually nice. I liked being at the couch, but I actually like being at a desk more. It's better for my posture, and I feel a lot more relaxed, and the space is nice too. So yeah, what a difference it makes not being in temporary places. And welcome back, old table. We haven't seen you in a while. There's our hanged man. Really? Well, we had a triplicate. That's a lot of cards, but okay. You guys have a lot to talk about this month. Yeah, the move was mostly drama-free. There was a little bit yesterday, but I'll save that for another video. I'm happy this space is set up, and take it one day at a time. Apollo loves being able to see something like, I don't think we've ever had that, like a window where he could just look out of. We have that in every room here, so that makes him super happy. Yeah, sorry this is taking an extra moment, like I said. Normally I would have all the boxes ready, but yeah, I had to get everything set up this morning. Okay, let's get started, folks. Triple Totem and a triple Catalyst coming through for you, which is super interesting here. So we have the Mystic, which looks beautiful and transformative. That'll be the first. The Threshold, which is a really appropriate card to come through as we're at the threshold of a new year. And the Prayer, which is about setting intentions. These actually all work together pretty well, so I can see why they all stuck together. So let's look at them one by one. Okay, we'll begin with the Mystic card. which is basically a beautiful transformative energy here. So we're looking at a chrysalis, or well, not the chrysalis, but the stage after that, basically. The emergence is what I would have probably titled this. But you're coming out of your shell, you're coming out of your chrysalis, and you're basically showing your true colors. So many of you have been waiting or ready to sort of like launch something or become something, or you just stepped through a transformative event, loss of a job, loss of a loved one, a move like I did, something big, and you're now trying to figure out, all right, the landscape looks different. What am I going to do? You're going to be fine. It takes time though. So I like to imagine that this one's happening right after you come out of the chrysalis, the wings are drying off a little bit, and you take a moment before you go into the next thing. So using what we talked about earlier, the energy of pausing, reviewing, and then stepping into the judgment energy. That's basically what I get with this. Catalyst, just like it sounds, is creating that spark, right? It's creating a reaction. So the first thing is to pause, let your wings dry a little bit, and then go. Don't rush. I actually love that someone was telling me, like, hurry up. I got it that you're on your lunch break, but don't hurry up is one of the messages for you, because you want to be mindful and be very sort of diligent. These were on their side, so we're going to look at this from a different perspective. So the threshold card is where you're standing right at the beginning of something new, and it was sideways like this. So sometimes you have to push at the walls here, push at the boundaries that you've boxed yourself into. That's kind of what I'm seeing. There's an Emperor card in the Fountain Tarot where he's opening up the box and all this light is coming out. So I almost feel like you're having like a push or breakthrough moment, but you're going to have to push a little bit, a little harder than you thought to get through that threshold. So this is you giving yourself enough time to figure out who you are, what you want to do. This is that extra push, like you're getting out of the chrysalis. Chrysalis is like a cocoon, but for butterflies. Even if the moths have to kind of get out of that cocoon. So you've changed, but you have to show that you've changed, and you have to get out of the comfort zone, basically. And then everything's better with intention. The Two of Wands actually empowers the High Priestess, and that's what the prayer card is reminding you. So definitely set an intention, one thing that you really want to focus on for this next period of time. Let that be your central focal point, and everything else will follow suit. Okay, let's go to the center of the spread here. So we have the King of Cups, very auspicious, very good card to have here. And basically following your heart, leading with the heart in communication and in decisions is key. And in this particular moment in time, especially, it's important to feel like you have a creative say or vision or ability to share that vision. If you don't feel like your creativity is being appreciated or being listened to, then you want to evaluate, like, why are you connecting with something? This is particularly for those of you that are working or have started a new program like school or training. It has to really kind of light up the heart fire. And if it isn't, it's not worth it. That old movie from the 80s, was it? Yeah, 80 or 79. E.T. Basically, I love that the heart lit up. Wrong color, but cool kind of energy. So that's what we're doing here, is kind of lighting up our heart center. And if you're not feeling it, it's not worth it. You're not alive. So connect to something that really brings that joy. Of course, this is a card for relationships. So for those of you looking for love, you're very magnetic. And you might also be pulling in a water sign. So be on the lookout for that. And I like what I'm seeing here. We also are seeing wisdom, experience, and power. This can also be a divine partnership. Both of you are presenting with divine masculine energy. I don't read gender in cards, but divine masculine is very good. We're looking at something where both of you know each other. You're able to hold your own, lead your own sort of charge, and I like that. If we combine this as an energy about you, it's basically saying you're finally starting to see or recognize your power or your potential. And that's not always easy to do, because we're taught a lot to kind of like feel like we need to, again, go to someone else or trust someone else or listen to someone else. And a lot of the reading today is about trusting the wisdom within. We see him holding a crystal ball, and we also see the Ankh behind him. So the power is in knowledge and experience and your own life experience as well, okay? There could be a little bit of a challenge with an authority figure in your life. There could be a question over a decision that you're about to make. Are you sure? Is this what you want? And so the more certain you are, the easier it's going to be to create the desired motion or activity. This is why the butterfly came through. So let's put them back in the order that I saw them. So we have the Mystic card here first, and then we had the Threshold, and then we had the Intention or Prayer. So the Tower for many of you has already happened or is finishing up, because we're looking at this for a month ahead. This is deep past. It should be done or winding up. The Tower is reversed. It's interesting that we see like the White House on this. So for some of you, there could be a change in leadership, right? Because we're looking at like a central figure in your life. So this could be a boss. It could be a loved one, someone that people would go to, trust, etc. The foundation's been shaken up a little bit, but that also creates an opportunity for someone new to step in or for you to see your own ability to lead, because we had two kings at the center. The Emperor, who basically is a king, and then the King of Cups. So one of the things that I'm getting with this particular unique illustration is that you have the capacity to step in and be a leader, especially where that doesn't already exist or where something kind of fell apart. The more traditional Tower represents a chance for you to release the old foundational patterns in your life. Something that used to work for you isn't necessarily working anymore. Some of you might have also gone through a Tower year, because we're looking at deep past. So there could have been a number of things. Maybe it was not just the loss of a loved one, but a change of a job, a change of a living situation, new love, new interests, new all around basically. But what that does is it's like the paint's drying everywhere. So one thing that you want to do right now is just take a moment, take a deep breath. Like I was saying earlier, be as present and as patient as possible. Rushing doesn't accomplish anything. It will cost you more time in the long run. Again, speaking from someone who has a lot of experience with that. Looking here at the Three of Pentacles, recent past, which is showing for many of you, whatever it is that you're about to embark on or have just started, there's a definite payoff here. I love that we see the Queen Bee with a bunch of worker bees around her, and she's saying, yeah, I'm ready for this. To that question, yes, this is what I want. Yes, I deserve this. She's finding the poise, the confidence, and all of those sort of attractive traits that are going to set up success for her. Another interesting thing, I don't know where I was researching this the other day. It might have just been, I was looking at a documentary or something on Netflix, but they were talking about queen bees, and that sometimes it's not the queen that decides when a new queen comes in. There's a big change in leadership for some of you, but it's actually the collective. So all of the worker bees, which are all women, by the way, bees are very divine feminine oriented. There are drones, males, and they simply serve one task, which is to reproduce, and then they die. They don't do a lot. Women are everything when it comes to the structure of bee colonies. The worker bees that we see out there, they're all female. So gathering all of the nectar and all the other fun stuff. But anyway, what we're looking at with this is an understanding that you may know better than the person in charge that something's falling apart, and conveying that information to them or to someone that can make that change is going to be important. The team energy is more powerful than one person that may not be leading this in the right direction. So for some of you, this could constitute, like, we take it out of the realm of work, it could be like an intervention, helping someone that's kind of spiraling a bit. Everybody comes together and says, we need to change this, or we need to help you. But ultimately, the power is with you, even if you're not the leader. Teamwork is powerful. You should be working with others, and also you can emerge as a leader. So this is kind of cool for those of you that have felt like you've been in a place where there's been a glass ceiling or a lack of growth. By being the best that you possibly can, by connecting with others, by making good decisions, collectively other people may, vie for your ability to be able to step into the next big thing, which is amazing and really important. Okay, so let's look at your crowning card here and connect these two energies. So Three of Pentacles connecting with the Nine of Pentacles. What I love about Nine of Pentacles energy is that we have the potential here for you to also thrive in any situation. This is independence, basically, and it is sustainability. And it is the ability also for you to really make some amazing strides as well. And when it comes to all of that, I think in this moment in time, don't underestimate your potential and really be willing, able, and open to accepting help from others too. So we have the interesting thing with the Nine of Pentacles is you can do it on your own, but you don't have to do it on your own. We have this energy of teamwork here. So reach out, connect. There's a chance for you to be better together. That's sort of like the connection of these two cards. Let's look at the Nine of Pentacles up close here. It's missing my favorite element, which is the snail, but let's see what they are emphasizing here. So we see all of the fruits of her labor around her, the beautiful coins and the grapes. Grapes, by the way, are really difficult to grow. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of energy and effort. So diligence, attention, patience, all a part of this as well. This represents, for many of you, stepping into a richer experience, stepping into a more independent role because it's reversed, so it's not all yet there. And then also moving towards something that's going to be there in the long run. I'm going to pull the traditional card here as we're talking too, just so we can see our awesome little snail, and then we'll talk about what all of this means. So I think we're in instant gratification society right now, and it does seem to kind of get like worse with each additional passing years. We have more networks and things are faster and all this stuff. We just want everything overnight. And one of the things that the Nine of Pentacles teaches us is slow and steady wins the race. So take your time, be really proud with what you've done. And then that final leg of the journey, you don't have to do it alone. So remember, asking for help, accepting help, it doesn't make you any less a part of the experience or any less independent or any less capable. So the traditional card in the very corner, you see a little snail, very similar imagery here. We also see her listening to the bird, kind of tuning into that higher energy. And the predominant color on most Nine of Pentacles is gold. So the power center is basically coming through the solar plexus chakra. So many people are looking to you to see also if you're willing to kind of show your strength and your power. Octagon 8, also connecting with the strength card too. So there's a little bit of a message there. Okay, focusing on near future, we have the Knight or the Son of Swords, and it's in reverse. The important thing with this is when we're looking at communication, whether it's a page or a knight, a reversed one is definitely tuning into what's going on around them. The knight is also not afraid to change direction or take direction and change course because knights move it forward. So a reverse knight typically represents something like that, a wake-up call where you decide, I'm going to pause and take a step back. Maybe 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's still progress. The 1 step back is so you don't forget to, it's kind of like when you're leaving in the morning. Make sure you turn off the coffee. Make sure you turn off the lights. Make sure you grabbed your keys or your lunch. It's that last thing where you're like, oh yeah, I almost forgot this. And also sometimes you look at something and you think, I could do that a little better. Let me take 5 extra minutes and then I'll make it up somewhere else. All right, so taking that extra time and realizing that you're going to be okay no matter what. This is also about speaking the truth, not kind of beating around the bush. Any of the sword cards from the ace to any of the court cards, those 5 cards together, if they're reversed, it's saying revise, be direct, and basically say what you need to say. So don't mince words. If there's something that needs to be brought up, you can do it, you should do it, and good things will come out of that. Okay, let's focus on the next piece. So looking at you, we also have a divine partnership between the Emperor and the Empress. So this is how you're being represented. Empress reversed is basically focused on healing yourself. In the upright position, we can see that pregnant belly. She's ready to help others, mother others, deliver something, birth something. This is saying, I've done a lot of that, and I want to take some time to take care of me. So there may be something on your mind or on your table where you think, why haven't I given myself a chance to explore that? Why hasn't this been done yet? And it's more of a rhetorical because you can decide to do it whenever you're ready, whenever you're truly kind of surrendering to that call, but now is the time for personal development. Let other people come to you. Whenever we see either the Queen of Wands or the Empress, and she is in the reverse state, she's basically saying, you know what, I have a lot of wisdom and experience, but if I force my ideas on others, or if I'm constantly making decisions for them, they're never going to grow. They're never going to feel like they can spread their wings and fly. And, so in this period of time, you want to enable strength around you and independent thought. And so let people come to you. Keep the door open. Let them know, hey, I've been through this. I have a point of view. But ultimately, focus on your own stuff. And so that's one of the sort of like funny things here. Sometimes the Empress reverse is just saying, mind your own business, mind your own P's and Q's, let other people come to you. Likewise with other people around you that may be getting into your business, then you just basically say, no, I know what I want. I know who I am, and this is how I'm going to do it. So it's either owning your power or letting other people figure things out. And that's the hardest thing of growing up or doing things on your own, is to realize I've got to do this on my own. So let someone know that you're not going to let them fall. The best parents and leaders and friends are like that. Just say, I'm here. I'll answer any question you have, and I believe you can do it. Try it. Ask me critical questions. I just want to see that you're doing this as well. And that's how you can kind of teach someone to not be codependent. And that's what we're trying to break a little bit as we're looking into 2023 for you. All right, focusing on what's going on in the environment around you. All right, so we have the Magician card. This is why it's so important to be intentional and to focus your intentions, because the Magician without focus is just distracted. This is the Jack of all trades, and basically he or she is able to do whatever they set their mind to. I love the sword being a central focus on this particular card. So she's basically saying, because it's action, voice, and also bringing things into fruition. So this is my claim. This is what I want. Yes, I deserve this. And this is how I want to do it. So I love the power that's part of this one. And it looks like she's kind of favoring air in this particular connection. So that's fine. You may need to think it through, speak it out, or take some action. And that's going to be what brings things to fruition for you. This is also a super attractive card, a super magnetic card. And I'm not talking about how it looks. I'm talking about how it functions. So whenever we see the Magician, it's chemistry personified. So if you're going for a job interview, someone can't quite put their finger on it, but they're like, I like this person. When you are trying to sell something or you're applying for something, they may just look at your name, your application, your email, and think, this one, we need to call this person. So you have that charm, charisma, or energy right now, and that's really important for you, okay? To realize and to embrace. I mean, have fun with it is what I would say. Try not to get distracted. Try to stay intentional. I think that's where you're going to find your power. As we look at hope spheres and opportunities, we have second chances. We have, again, discernment here. So whenever we see the Eight of Cups, there's always room to come back to something if you want to. But many of you are taking the first sort of leap of faith or the first step in a new direction where you're thinking, maybe there's more. Maybe I can do something besides this. You may also notice that there's been something that's been happening time and again throughout this year in relationships, in living situations, in your health. And this is about getting some space from the incident and going again. It's all about going back to source. Think to yourself, what do all of these things have in common? Maybe it's old relationships, maybe it's jobs, maybe it's health things. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, but okay, when I was here and I was feeling this, oh, okay. So, you can kind of figure out the source rather than just putting a Band-Aid on the reaction to that. That's going to be really important, and that's going to help you be more empowered in this moment in time, okay? Focusing now on your outcome, we have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is in reverse, so there is a sort of cautionary note here to not rush, because as I said in the channeled messages, the Hanged Man is all about understanding that if you continue to just sort of like push through without any sort of clarity, without any sort of plan and without any sort of review, it's difficult to gain learnings, knowledge, and direction. So there's a reason, even though, I think the systems that we evaluate one another with are kind of like archaic, but there's a reason that when you're in school I would say sometimes it's 4 times a year usually that you are reviewed. In a business situation, 1 to 2 times a year. But once we get out of that, and if you're self-employed like me, thank God I don't have to go to those annual reviews. So I just have to make it up for myself. And sometimes it's triggered by end of year events like New Year's. Sometimes it's birthdays. Sometimes you just wake up one day and you think, how did I get here and what else do I want? So maybe this month, this is a perfect time through December and January, because we're looking at January, to just really be intentional and think, I'm going to slow down a little bit just to see, is there a pattern in all the jobs, relationships, and choices that I've made? Do I like the pattern? Do I want to change it up? Okay? That's really all you have to do. Also, if there's any sort of pause, so let's say for some of you, you had to move, you broke up, or your job ended. So first it's this, oh my goodness moment. Then you're looking at resources. Then you're taking a break, you're traveling, or you're kind of looking around. But you're pausing a bit before you jump into the next thing. And that's actually the advice here. Change, evaluate, talk, ask questions, redirect, then take action. Take a trip, explore something before you really step into something new and make sure that it fits like a glove, I think that's going to be important as well. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a slightly deeper dive into the expanded forecast where we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And we'll get some additional insights into everything that we talked about. As I start to look at the health card, remember that I'm here to help you navigate energy. And if there's anything going on in your body, or if there's anything with mental health, obviously work with a professional for those things. So as we look at your health card, it was reversed and it says, Star being healing codes, important information, wounds are healing, recharging. So we're looking beyond the physical. This is much more of a metaphysical card, so it's appropriate for what I do. And so this is about going back to things that I think have to do with your parents, because we got Emperor and Empress energy here. So important information, wounds are healing, recharging. So the wounding cards or the wounded cards in tarot would be like the 5 of Pentacles, wounds from the past. It can also be restoring things from the past, 6 of Cups, innocence, joy, playful energy. So we could combine the 2 of those and get some information about that. Let's take a look at the cards and see if we can identify where some of those healing moments are, and we'll go from there. Okay, so if we look more on the sort of relationship front first, like I said, parental energy comes through pretty strong. We have divine masculine coming through here, so father or paternal figures. And then we have you sort of stepping into the maternal energy here, trying to nurture yourself, trying to take care of yourself. So if you need to heal energy with parents or siblings, that definitely shows up here. And if it's siblings, it would be older brother, older sister sort of energy. Let's take that out of the equation. Other health notes. 2023 is your year to create a better foundation, because whatever 2022 was, it maybe wasn't as stable, as healthy, as happy as you had anticipated. Even if it was good, you have the potential to do even more in the year ahead. So this is about firmer foundations across the board. So all of the like where you're living, what you're doing for a living, how you're taking care of yourself, all of those things are going to affect general health and well-being for you. Let's look at some other things here. It feels like work has been a central point for you. There's been a lot going on with work, with development. And one thing that this card is bringing in is a sort of general note or nudge for you to basically say, I need to see some other people. I need to talk. I need to get out of my shell. I can't only focus on, basically work and school and studying. There has to be more interaction. I would love to see more playful cards like 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, Ace of Cups. We did have the King, but I'm not seeing, and I see like co-working energy here, but I'd like to see more community energy coming in. So it feels like you could benefit from increased social interactions, whatever that means for you, whether it's clubs or, meeting up with friends or family, or just getting out in the community a little bit more. One other thing that I'm seeing here is some of you, again, standard disclaimer, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a dietitian, but whenever I see the chemist, the magician, sometimes it's showing that things could be tweaked or improved a little bit when it comes to diet, or there could be an interaction going on if you're on medication. Something could be interfering, or there's too much medication. Something about your internal chemistry could be off, and if that's the case, this is a great time of year for your annual physical. So go get some blood work done, because that would show the chemicals and the chemistry within. And that's basically what I picked up with that. Last thing, if you're like me and you're healing from an injury in your leg, foot, particularly your ankle, take your time. Whenever the hanged man comes through, it's not saying just slow down, but the healing takes time. Whenever there's a bone fracture like I had, even though it was clean, and I can wear normal shoes now, I still feel pain because there's modeling going on inside the bone, and it can take up to a year for all of that to finally be finished. So take your time, don't rush, and if you are a really sort of fit, sporty person, take some time before you go full force. Ease into it. I've just recently, whenever I'm wearing my watch, it tracks all my steps. I've noticed that I'm back to my old pace, but like my injury was September 19th and we're now in December, and I'm still feeling some discomfort. It won't be until probably like February or March when I'm back 100%, but I'm so happy to be able to walk normal distances again. I'm just not going fast, and I'm very careful. So take your time. Slow and steady is what's going to really help you continue to grow, and in a sustainable way. Okay? But overall, I like what I'm seeing here. It looks like the most challenging or difficult stuff has happened in the past, so you can focus more on new things in the new year. Okay? Okay. So let's focus on what's going on in your wealth. We just looked at health. We're looking at wealth, earth and ground. So if you're getting a lot of great ideas, if you are feeling a lot of inspiration, and you're kind of going, a mile a minute with that, because if we pair this with the magician sometimes can almost feel like ADHD, because you're thinking, I could do this, I could do that, what about this? We want to take these two cards, and this is saying ground this a little bit. She's very much focused in the air energy, and she's almost stabbing that sword in the pentacle. And this is basically what it's saying. Yes, take the idea and plant the seed, because otherwise your brain's just going on a lot of spaces, great intentions, but not a lot of action. So take one thing and ground it. Not everything, one thing, and see it to fruition. One thing at a time. Because the Nine of Pentacles is not like Jack and the Beanstalk. It's not grown overnight. The Jack and the Beanstalk card would probably be more like the Seven of Pentacles, because you either have a choice there to take your time and bring it to the Nine of Pentacles, or force the growth, and it usually isn't sustainable, and then you have to go backwards. So take your time, one thing at a time, don't rush it, and you can see the beautiful heart around his heart. Put your heart into it as you're grounding this, okay? And that really nicely connects with the center card, which is, do you feel it? Because if you don't feel what you're doing, why are you doing it? That was my initial message when it came to the King of Cups. It's not just about love and romance. Yes, you could be meeting someone. We'll talk more about that in a second. But when we're looking at, are you doing what you're loving? Do you feel connected to this? Is this right for you? Those messages are coming through loud and clear with this. Are you in a place where it's safe and you feel supported? Because the Tower reversed isn't. So there could be a place where it's just topsy-turvy or chaotic. And some people like chaos. Some people, thrive off of it. But if you don't, then that's one of the opportunities from the deep past, is for you to say enough is enough with that. I thought I was getting invigorated, but it's really exhausting me, and I want to do something different. Well, good for you, and now's the perfect time for you to explore and to try something different. Okay, so some other things when we're looking at, well, first of all, when I'm looking at wealth, I love that we have the Mastery card here. In the corner, we have the Three of Pentacles. It's in recent past. When we look and see the crowning card, it's Nine of Pentacles. So definite return on energy. And then we also see a cyclical card here that means this cycle will stick. So I like this. One thing that I'm looking at though is there could be, talking about ignition or pacing of things, there could be a lot going on early and let's say early and middle of the month, and then it plateaus because this is things not necessarily growing but continuing, and then you feel impatient. You're like, but I wanted to see more, but I thought more would be happening. So with this, remember you are again the source of creation. You can always create more, but sometimes you're supposed to slow down and just enjoy and slow down and just do the best that you can. And it's probably to, you know, I'm cool with it, but like if I produced shorter and more videos, I would have probably double the subscribers because I look at competition. That's really what goes on. It's 10, 20 minute videos and like quadruple the amount, but I can't. It just doesn't work for me right now. In the year ahead, I'll explore with different times and different formats, but you got to do you. Do you and do it consistently and do it well. And this is about slow, steady, and quantity is not always best. Quality is what really matters the most here. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, get it on paper, folks. Whenever we see the Knight of Swords reversed, put your money where your mouth is and put things into contractual form, put it into writing, put it intentionally also, like I'm gonna do this. Write it out, journal it out. Your ability to communicate with power and with clarity is also gonna be part of the key to success. So it starts like a lion and it ends like with a little bit of a plateau. But that doesn't mean that this is bad. It just means that you're going to front load the month and that there'll be a little less towards the end. So pace yourself. And if you're feeling exhausted, if you can push anything out to some of the latter weeks, that'll probably benefit you. Okay, let's go to the relationship portion here. So we're going to look at love. We have Mary Magdalene here, Teacher Awakens. And let's look at the caption on this card. It says, I'm going to read it here first. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. So the Mary Magdalene is definitely connected to the Empress card here, okay? Empress in reverse is also showing that latent or awakening energy, and it's reminding you that you don't have to rush. You have to see it, feel it, and believe it first. Until you do, no one else is really going to be able to vibe off of that. We have lilies on this card. So for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, springtime energy, summertime energy is associated with that. For those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, this is probably going to be a lot closer to April. So you're planting seeds that Southern Hemisphere, it's happening now. Northern Hemisphere, we're going to see it in about 3 to 4 months from now, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So in the next quarter year, when I look at the 4 quarters, we'll see how that kind of associates with Northern, Southern Hemisphere. Okay. You may be focusing your energy less on love, more on kind of like finding a mentor, or you could be wanting to find a mentee, someone to train. So definitely getting some of that. All right, let's break it down into the more traditional sense. Those looking for love, those in a loving relationship already, those looking for love, and those single and happy. If you are currently in a relationship, let's look and see what's going through the cards. Well, first of all, I love the divine partnership energy here between the Empress and the Emperor. The Emperor is coming through a little bit more strong, and this is probably your partner. And you're coming through as needing to receive, ask, or sort of like soak in the moment a little bit. And so if you're always the one that ends up being the delegator, the manager, the key central boss figure, then one thing that you can do is to sort of lean on the partner a little bit more and say, in this moment in time, I really need you to do this. And whatever you do, it's going to be okay. Empowering them to make a good decision. So that's one thing that I'm picking up on is delegation. And why? Because I feel like you might be burned out. So looking at this not as a sort of relationship card, but more as a health card, the Tower can indicate something that happens that's out of your control. So could be a sudden injury like a broken bone. Could be something bigger, like you might be going through some sort of a major health crisis, but you're going to work through this together. And part of that would be just accepting help and being taken care of. Not being the nurturer, but being nurtured, because that's what Empress Reversed is saying. Okay, I'll accept. Yes, take care of me. Thank you. And it's hard to be in that receiving role for many of you. Now, let me see if there's anything else before I go to the more critical potential read for this. If everything is going well, let's see, major change could have happened. You could have just had a baby, gotten a new house, or again, gotten through a major incident. That requires a realignment. Taking your time and not rushing is again coming through with that. I like that the chemistry is still there for many of you. So reigniting the spark. Passion is more than just physical, and it's more than just sex. So, intimacy can just be spending time together, doing something nice for your partner, being there when it matters. So these different levels of intimacy are coming through as a way to sustain the relationship. And otherwise, I like what I see. Now let's talk about, for those of you that might be having a little bit of a hard time in a current relationship. So if we're looking at this less environmental, less health, more relationship, yeah, it's been there for a while, folks. And it's just coming to the surface. Can it be healed? Yeah, but it requires honesty. And that's the Knight of Swords in reverse. Honesty and integrity. I see all Knights as having a code of conduct, integrity, basically. So being as kind of clear, concise, and having as much integrity as possible, that's what matters here. Are you a person of your word? Is your partner someone that you can trust? Let's see what else I'm seeing here. It feels like some space could help. So some of you may already be there. This is usually something that's fallen apart. This can be an estrangement or deciding to get some space and clarity on your own. Not necessarily saying goodbye, but saying, I need to consider this. And then taking your time before making the final decision here. So I think for many of you, there is a decision with when it's a serious sort of unhappiness in the relationship. It's up to you. Can it improve? Yes, but it requires work on both sides. It feels like now if we take all of this out, work and money are playing a really big role in the relationship right now as well. So make sure you're having honest conversations about that. All right, let's take current relationships off the table and move to those of you seeking a relationship. The dust needs to settle first. I can totally relate to this. As I kind of set up my new space, this was what I spent the second day doing. I thought, okay, I need to get the office set up. So I had to get the cable person in. I had to get all the lights set up. I had to get most of my boxes unpacked. Like first day was, I had to put the clothes in the closet, the stuff in the bathroom, essential stuff in the fridge. Second day, office. And then I'll start to look for furniture and stuff like that. So same sort of things when it comes to you want to prioritize things in your life. There might be some things that need to be dealt with before you bring another person into your life. Is your life clean and orderly? Because the Tower is usually the opposite. It's a little chaotic. It's a little scattered. So your schedule may be all over the place. You're looking for love, but where does it fit in? Are you working too many hours? You're looking for love, but maybe there's not enough room in the closet or room in your house for someone. So creating some space so that person can enter into your life. You're looking for love, but your head is going a mile a minute and it's cluttered. So it's a time to declutter the thoughts and ground and basically put each of these, earth and ground those energies so that person can come in and not feel like they are trying to find you for all of this, the tree for the forest. And that's the main message here for looking for love. Get your bearings first. Let the dust settle. Clean up your life. Clean up your energy. Now, some of you have already done it. It's in the past. So I just had to mention it because the past repeats. That's the Eight of Cups here. So we're also looking at karmic patterns repeating. And the karmic pattern here is chaotic. So we want to get rid of that chaotic pattern from the past. Now let's look at some of these other things here. So let's assume that you've done the work here. I do see a divine partnership coming through. Someone in a very similar walk of life or similar age, because when we get the king and the queen, it feels right. This is not someone younger. They're the same age or older. Looking more like the same age because I got king and queen. So someone the same age as you. I see you calling in. Probably water sign here because we have the King of Cups here. Someone who really is comfortable with themselves. I almost get this overly chill vibe. So this is someone who doesn't get bothered and has a lot of fun, maybe a little bit more playful than you. Oddly enough, that could stress you out, Virgo, because you want things organized or you want things in order. I like their energy though. It seems like they have a really cooling, calming effect on you is what I get. So check yourself a little bit and make sure that that doesn't freak you out, because you may want things to kind of be going fast, fast, fast. And they're like, let's just chill. Let's just hang out. Let's see what else is going on. You have distractions in the form of work and money. You've done a good job, especially when it comes to finance. You're setting yourself in a good trajectory. For many of you, that's going to constitute the main prayer or intention for the year ahead. And you're crossing that new threshold into abundance. And it feels good, but it also feels like maybe uncharted territory for some of you. So with all that, again, you can call in anything you want. Just make sure that you are clear and you are ready. Because if the person comes in and they don't know where to go, they're going to go to somewhere else. It's like fireflies lighting up. They'll go to another one that's ready. So that's all I see, is just kind of getting your life together and in order, if you're single and looking. If you're single and happy, well, I see your finances and your sort of ability to personally develop growing by leaps and bounds. It seems like you're finding your voice. It seems like you're not afraid to slow down and change things a little bit. You still may attract someone in all of this sort of movement, but the cool thing is, when it happens, it will happen in just the right time and just the right place. Probably while you're traveling, probably while you're out and about, and you can take it slow. Whether it's new love or you're single and happy and you meet a new friend, take it slow. The Hanged Man is not about rushing. But I see a lot of personal growth and financial growth in the new year for everybody. It doesn't matter what your relationship status is. It's looking good for you guys. All right. Going back to this, the karma is also teaching. So are you looking for a partner or a teacher? It's a powerful question. Many of you don't think about that. You just say, I want a soulmate. Mary Magdalene is a mother card, mothering energy. So it's basically, do you want a lover or do you want a parent? Do you want a lesson or do you want someone that's going to kind of just have fun with you in this journey? The King of Cups is kind of the answer to that. Someone wants to come through that's just the partner. But the teacher vibe keeps coming through. Either you want to teach them or you want to be taught. So karmically, this is really important. It feels like this is the thing that all Virgo can kind of overcome this month, is feeling like you have to have a lesson involved with this. It can just be love, folks. This is why sometimes it's better not to have a soulmate or a karmic partner. I actually want to soulmate is a cool term, but karmic partnership is a lot more descriptive of what a soulmate can be or is. There's a lesson, there's baggage. Sometimes it's good baggage. Sometimes it's an empty bag saying, let's travel the world together. Sometimes it's like Marley from, Christmas Carol, and there's a lot of chains and stuff that you have to deal with. So make sure you go to the check-in and see what they've got. What's your baggage? And make sure you check your own baggage too. Okay? All right. Let's move on to your destiny card. We have Moonlight Enchantment, magic basically. And we had the Magician, so I like this. At first I thought it was a wolf, but it's actually it looks like a bear to me, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like a grizzly to you? But whether it's a wolf or a grizzly, who cares? On this particular card, what we're seeing is the ability to follow your instincts here and to also set intentions. I'm looking at it really quick on replay. It was reversed. Yeah. Okay. So with this card in reverse, definitely having lunar energy as a part of it. The moon in reverse would say, don't be afraid to look at the things that excite or scare or inspire you the most. That's where your power is. It's a wolf as I look at it closer. It's just a weird illustration. It kind of looks like a gray grizzly to me, but the closer I put it to the image, it's a wolf. All right. So definitely we're talking traditional moon card here. So with this, don't get distracted by other people's drama, the wolf and the dog in the front. Don't lose track of your path, the path on the moon card, and don't ignore something that needs to be dealt with. So as I moved in here, I saw a couple things that needed to be maintained, and that's what I'm getting done here over this next week. Like I said, mostly drama-free, but there were some things that I had to deal with. So I'm working with all the folks here to get that coordinated. So don't be afraid to say something if it's wrong. I actually had people saying thanks that I said it, like, thank you for showing us that. Yes, we'll fix it, which is a good sign. Nothing's perfect, but if you have communication, anything's possible with good communication. So you can deal with things as long as people are communicating. Communicate your issues and then get back on the track to that moon. There's always a path between the two animals. You want to go on that path, okay? All right. So far, I really like your reading, I have to say. And maybe part of it is I'm just feeling really calm in the new space. But I like what I'm seeing so far for you. And I feel like this is going to be a very powerful and also, I think you're going to be clearing things out because it's a powerful period, but because the tower is reversed and it's in the deep past, I was wondering, like, why is the surfer energy coming through? Well, King of Cups reminds me of a surfer, actually. And I talk about surfing the energy of change. So we have like Poseidon type energy here, where he's like, yeah, the waves are crashing, but I created the crash. So I'm not freaked out by that. I'm watching and I'm working with it. I am manifesting things, and part of that means that there's going to be some dust when we have construction. So it's construction time. That might be your title for today. It's construction time. What do you want to build? I like it. That's a good title. It came to me in real time. All right, let's go into your big idea. The big idea is a single card that's going to help you focus on what's this all about. So let's see what it's all about. Okay. So an end to things that make you unhappy. So let's say 2022 hadn't been the best year for you, or let's say December had presented some sort of a disappointment. Someone said no to a request. Someone broke up with you. You got some bad news somewhere. We all get it in some part of our life. That is not your narrative. That was a redirection. That is the universe pointing you somewhere else. Not here, here. So go towards the new call, direction, or clarity. Also, it takes time for the heart to heal, just like any part of your body. So give yourself time for that healing to start to take place. So it's an acknowledgement. I didn't like this aspect. It's okay for me to feel triggered, but I'm not going to sit in that, and I'm not going to let that define my narrative. This is a time for healing. I always see Three of Swords reversed as moving towards healing and love and happiness. Pay attention to things around the heart as well. So for those of you that have a history of blood pressure, heart disease, etc., definitely make this next year about being as healthy as possible. But for most of us, it's disappointment or being upset. And the reversal is saying, we're changing it. We're changing the record, putting a different vinyl on top, something different now. All right. Let's go from the big idea to blessings and blocks constituting something good, something challenging in this month ahead. The blessing is justice, which I love, and the block is the Four of Pentacles, an appropriate card for a block. Okay, so let's talk about these two cards together. Basically, if we were to meet up with justice, she would be able to say, this is what I stand for, this is what's right, this is how it's going to be. She's like super decisive. And you can trust her because she's not playing any games. So Virgo, as we look at the month ahead, you know who you are, you act with integrity, you act with clarity, and you cut out anything that brings that sense of imbalance in your life. If it's a person, you're going to spend less time with them. If it's a habit, it's your New Year's resolution to kick it to the curb. And if it's something that you feel really passionate about creating, you're going to put the intentional energy that constitutes the magician into that. Because the magician can do anything she wants, justice can do anything she wants, and together these two cards are really unstoppable. So balance, integrity, intention. That's the power of justice. That's what you're going to do. Some of you are being asked to make a decision, and that's the hardest thing. Are you in? Are you out? Do you like this? Do you not like this? Someone may be proposing to you, or you want to propose to someone else. You have to decide, is this right for you? And only you can decide what's right for you. Now let's look at your block. We have the Four of Pentacles, holding on to the past, holding on to a limited thought, holding on to something that just doesn't serve you, accepting less than what you're worth. None of these things are what you want to be focusing on. There's a line in Pretty Woman where she says the bad stuff is easier to believe than the good stuff. And it's true that sometimes it's easier to believe critical thoughts about ourselves. I'm not worth it. I can't do it. It won't happen. I have bad luck with X, Y, or Z. So you're going to clear that, also take that record and break it for all intents and purposes, and decide I'm worth more than this. And see the Four Pentacles as the four corners of a building, foundational cards, foundational symbols, not everything. Like it's just the beginning, okay? She's protecting her heart in this as well. So it's actually very nicely connected to that Three of Swords energy. She wants to make sure that she doesn't get hurt. When we put ourselves out there and, you know, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, it's tough. And for those of you like me that do, you know, creative work, or, you know, it's your name and your brand, people say what they're going to say, and it's hard sometimes to read the negative, but look at the positive too, and open yourself up to maybe receiving that love, that support, and that help that you've been looking for. Okay. All right. Let's move on to something that I love in the live readings now that we're back, viewers and readers' choice. By the way, if you're liking this live, please hit the thumbs up if you haven't already and like it. Subscribe if you're brand new, and opt into bells because the bell notifications, because my schedule's changed a little bit. And so I just want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. Also engage with this on replay because live videos don't get pushed up as much as pre-recorded or live premieres do. I like doing them more. I think you like them more too. So show some love when this is on replay and comment for engagement, even if it's like an emoji. Give me a butterfly or something. It's cool. All right, let's go ahead now and put the camera down for a second. Let's look at all the cards and we'll talk about some things that you can vote on and then some things that I'm going to vote on. All right, so let's see. Here we go. I usually take the toughest one. So I'm going to take the Tower. So I'll look at that. I'm going to look at stabilizing in the new year. Let's look at some things you can focus on here. Okay, knowing when to, I don't know how to sort of state this nicely. It's like when to mind your own business. So how to focus on your sort of own energy. So we're going to look at leadership. This is a nicer way. When to lead, when to pull back, or step back is what we're going to say. Okay, the next question that I have that you can vote on is how to be patient. Because the Hanged Man is definitely trying the patience here. Okay. The other thing here is, for many of you, when we're looking at two really strong people, I'm just going to look at divine partner. We're going to look at partnerships in general, because I want to see what energy could be coming through with that. There might be partnerships, and we're going to put power/karma, because we talked a little bit about that. So you've got a lot of choices there to look at. While you do that, I want to go a little deeper into the energy of the Tower and see what's coming through for change and growth and movement. Ace of Cups reversed. Okay, let's talk. So with the Ace of Cups in the reverse state, it's amazing how small there's a little tiny water lily in this card. We also see the dove in the background. So making peace with how long it took you to get where you're at. That little water lily or lotus blossom, it takes a long time to push to the top, but it's totally worth the journey. The bird representing a peaceful period for many of you after chaos. And also representing the promise of love or happiness. So let's say a divorce or a breakup could definitely be a part of this. It's two people, there's always a couple people being thrown from the tower. So you could be finding your footing again after a period where you divorced, you're widowed or a widower, and it's this sort of, or you were a caretaker, and it's like where that void takes a while. You rediscover your energy. Here's a way to think about it. So in a lot of the Scandinavian countries where there was a lot of glacial coverage, also I think like Greenland and Iceland, as the glaciers start to pull back, the land pops back up, it springs back up. So if you were to think of a heavy person in your life, heavy energetically, so a lot of sadness, maybe sickness, other things, they compress your space and you become smaller because you're putting more energy into them. When the person leaves, even if it was loving, what happens is just like the ground, you expand again. So the Tower for many of you is actually more about returning to the fullness of self, the fullness of energy. So I actually see you springing back. And that's what this Ace of Cups is saying. Allow yourself to feel love again, to expand again. Part of this is going to be, it's messy in the beginning. There might be a little bit of tears or frustration, but it's all worth it. So what I see is a Tower moment where you expand and regain your ground. So fun little fact, I think when I was doing research, Finland is one area in particular where several miles per year come back. They're springing back. It's like gaining landmass, whereas like Venice is losing. Certain countries are gaining as, glacial pressure releases, and then as all of the ice melts, certain other areas that are below, they're losing ground. But you're gaining ground. That's actually a really cool thing with this. You had to lose to gain. That's the sort of bumper sticker. And that's what the Tower taught us. Okay? So let's see what you've chosen for me. You've chosen partnerships and power and karma. Okay, good. So here's what inspired me to look at this. As I was looking at this, we see two power cards, the Emperor and the Empress. We see the karmic energy of teacher. So calling it a, we were also talking about like not having baggage in general. So let's just look at all of these. How can you get rid of the teacher baggage? How can you meet each other on a sort of more even perspective? And then also like, what is this whole thing about? What is the power struggle about that we're seeing here? Queen of Wands. I like this. Okay, so this is the Queen of Fire. Sometimes, I kind of wish sometimes we had elemental symbols on these as well. So, because we were talking about finding your spark. I have so many potential titles for you today. It's finding your spark. You have to lose to gain. A lot of different things here. But with the Queen of Wands for you, she can make it work no matter what. To use that line from, what is it, Project Runway, make it work. She can make it work. She can pull a rabbit out of a hat, or in this case, a cat, or a sunflower. Normally this card, you would see the pyramids at Giza in the background, and it's representing growth in a period where there shouldn't be growth. So for many of you, here's one thing. Let's say you've been in a desert when it comes to relationships. You haven't loved in a while. It's your karma, charisma, power, energy, and your path, your bossiness that's actually going to pull someone in. So be the boss and be the lead in a relationship. However, going right back, these two are intense. I told you, Queen of Wands and the Empress. If we reverse them, they're tough to take. So it's either you or your partner. The main message here is step back and let the other person show up and do what they need to do. Even if you could do it better, let them try. And then for yourself, you don't have to edit who you are. I'm not asking you to be any less bold than you are, but don't feel like you have to push it onto others. It's coming up a second time in relationships. If you see this karmic cycle where everyone's bossing you around, maybe they're just looking for the moment where you sort of raise your hand and say, no, that's not what we talked about. So you actually get to step up and be the boss. So I like that. But when it comes to, trying to force someone, thinking of the strength card to be a certain way, to do a certain thing, you don't need to do that anymore. Okay? This is a chance for you to be strong and for someone else to be just as strong. And there's room for two stars to shine. One doesn't have to contract anymore because that was part of the karma. This is a spring back moment. So you're going to be strong, and someone may then not be happy with that, but someone else is going to be happy to be your twin star. Forget about twin flames. Look at twin stars instead. Both of you can shine brightly. You don't have to impede on each other's territory. You're cooperating together. There are double and triple star systems out there, actually. Ours is one of the unique ones where there's just one. So be a double star system and pull in some really cool stuff when it comes to partnerships. I get that both of you are strong. Maybe you're going to negotiate where, some of you get to make decisions. One of you may decide, I have more ideas on finances, or I have more ideas on travel, or whatever it is. So maybe you can divvy up some of the duties and say, just let me have this, or let me do the cooking, or let me do this. Whatever it is, you get to be the boss on that.
but let them also give some leeway to them on things that they want to do. It's give and take. If I had to summarize it, give and take. You can't dictate everything. You can't acquiesce to everything. And good relationships are give and take. Your next partner or your current partner, it's strong. You both have a really big, bright energy. So celebrate it and find places where you both can shine. You don't want someone that you can easily mute energetically. Anyway, it's more fun to have someone who's got that brilliance. At least I think so. Okay, let's now expand this to look at sun, rising, and moon. As I mentioned earlier, you can watch it for any aspect of your chart. I also saw someone, by the way, thank you for saying that they'd join all the readings. There's something for everyone. I mean, I tune into whoever's going to show up, whether it's live or on replay. So a lot of times, today we got triplicate cards and someone mentioning, not just like triplicate cards, but triplicate messages. So, there's a lot here that we can all gain if we look at all of them. So thank you, by the way. All right, sun, rising, and moon. Let's pull the cards, see what the messages are, and then we'll get into the quarterly forecast for 2023. All right, we'll look at the sun card first, and then we'll go to rising. Ooh, rising's amazing. And then we'll go to moon. Okay, they're all pretty good. Let's start with your sun sign message first. Well, who doesn't like the 10 of Pentacles? It's a great card for money. It's a great card for those of you like me trying to find a place. I finally found one. So it can represent a good contract on the horizon, selling or buying a house, marriage, which is why we see this, the extended family or networking in general. Power overall, though. So if you're looking for love or looking for work, both. You don't have to actually choose. You can have both. But both energies are coming through. I also like the sort of breadcrumbs that are showing them the way. So for many of you, it's very clear like what you want and how to get there. So follow the third eye, follow the sort of intuitive breadcrumbs that are being laid out in front of you. They won't lead you astray. Together, it's going to be better. And that's what we're also seeing with this 10 of Pentacles. You don't have to do it alone. We also see a promise fulfilled. We have the 9 of Pentacles here in reverse. Now we have the 10 of Pentacles upright. So by the end of the month or by the end of the quarter, you're going to have a lot of positive traction towards this ultimate goal. So love, money, home, networking, business, all shining really, really bright as we look at the new year. It's a nice start to the new year, okay? And you're not alone. Nothing negative with that. It was upright. So we're going to leave that at that. Good message for sun. Going on to rising, thinking even bigger than what we just talked about with the sun sign. So rising or ascendant can often hit in the areas of work, how people view you externally. Let's turn this card upright and bring it a little closer. This is like a magician card on caffeine. So you can see 3 of Pentacles in the upper corner, 2 of Cups in the other corner. Then we have an Ace of Wands and an Ace of Pentacles, the crystal. And then we see her at the center holding time and an Ankh symbol. It's basically all the elements. This would be like meshing the World card with the Magician, expanding all the best aspects of that, and then throwing, for good measure, some of those best minor arcana. So, Supreme, you have the ability this month to bring in a lot of what we're seeing here. Growth in work. New love, if you want it, if you're ready for it. And possibly a water sign too. And then, so we see recognition, we see love, and then we see new ideas when it comes to what you want and how you want to do it. The card upside down represents for a lot of you a difficulty in figuring out what to do first. So we see a nice synchronicity with what came through in wealth. One thing at a time. Just because she's the magician on caffeine doesn't mean that she hasn't stopped trying to do everything at once. So you can have everything that you need, but each day focus on one central goal. Otherwise, it becomes chaotic, okay? But ultimately, I love this. And also, this would be the ultimate source card too. This is an extra card in the Afro Goddess Tarot Arcana deck. So this would be like 22. Some decks have an extra 2 to 3 to 4 cards. So this is the bonus card in that deck. So it basically mashes together everything that we've seen. And it says, It's not just a breakthrough. This is like what I said, you've got this chance to bounce back. I really do think that's your general energy this month. Expansion and bouncing back. So you had to lose to gain. So that's turning to be more like the main focus here as I'm looking at all of this. All right, let's move now to the moon card. All right, so you don't have to push so hard. You don't have to work so hard. You can push back, you can delegate. The good news with the Seven of Wands is you can handle every single thing that comes your way, but you don't have to. And the hardest thing in life is saying no, or this is too much, or I could use some help, or why haven't you done this? So sometimes we have to use all of those different words, and not in a kinder tone, but just saying, hey, I could really use some help. I think you said you were gonna do this, where are we at? You can put it more in a question form and nudge them a little bit. But you always have a chance to push back. She looks a little nervous in this, so don't be nervous. If I could assuage or allay your concerns a little bit, you can do this. That's basically the Seven of Wands. I'm going to pull the traditional one. You don't need to do it. You can, but you don't need to do it all. I'm going to show the traditional because he also is a little bit anxious. So with both of them, I would say just focus on the power of the word no, or not yet, or use questions to your advantage, like, how about this? Or what do you think of this? I can't do this, but I can do this. Will that work? Because then you've already stated that you can't do it, and then you've given them something else. And if they don't like it, come up with something better, but you're saying it in like a kinder way. Here he is, stressed out just a little bit. Look at that face. But he's pushing it. He's holding it all together. But with this, you definitely don't have to work so hard. So one last thing, and then we'll get into the quarterly forecast. Whenever we're looking at wands, you can subtract or add, and it makes usually a stronger card. Take one away, you have success. Six of wands rather. So with the Six of Wands, you have everybody looking at you thinking, oh, that was a good decision. I'm glad we took that out. If you bring something else in, a resource or some assistance, Eight of Wands, movement. The Seven is a tricky card. You're a little bit unbalanced. And it's true of all the sevens. Seven of Cups, they're scattered in their thought process. Seven of Swords, not accountable. Let's see, Seven of Pentacles, trying to rush. And then the Seven of Wands, doing too much. Sevens are magical cards because you're right on the precipice of all the power, but you have to make smart choices. That's all you have to do with this, make smart choices. All right, I don't have a fancy graphic for this. I'll probably have it for the next one. We're midway through. But now we're going to look at the quarterly forecast for 2023. So one card for 3 months apiece. So let me just pull the cards, and then I'll identify all of them, and we'll see what's coming through for this year ahead. And that's cool. 2023 is a 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're right, Nimi. Thank you. Okay. Q1, Q2, Q3. Ooh, we like Q4, the Lovers. Okay. So we'll break it down card by card and 3-month period by 3-month period. Looking at January, February, and March, a change of focus, fortune, and direction. That's what we see here. Wheel of Fortune is auspicious even when reversed, but when reversed, it does require intention, direction, and focus. Something that once served you no longer serves you. Something that once interests you may not. Something new may be entering you that really kind of ignites your internal flame and spark, and that is where you're going to put your focus because that's where the power is. So focus on the spark and see things moving in the right direction. It could take up to 3 months for this card to be in the upright position. So give it time, give it space, but know that the whole purpose is it's like cranking a wheel in a ship, a big vehicle. It takes time for the ship to catch up with think of the movie Titanic. They didn't do it fast enough and the ship was too big. Easier when it's a bike or a car, easier when it's your 2 feet. Even then, like me, you can correct but overcorrect, and that's what happened with the metatarsal fracture. Your muscle pulls too fast and it actually pulls the bone apart. It's crazy. So don't act too quickly. Give it time. We don't want a crash. We don't want a fracture. We want things to be nice and predictable. The other thing, the reason like in the Titanic that it happened is they weren't paying attention. So pay attention, plan ahead, don't rush. I think all of these things will help you make the the change that you want to make in 2023 and make it stick. But we are seeing improvement with finances, change in direction, and this could be also a full year that some of this stuff is also taking place over, because this can represent 4 seasons. Okay, moving on to the second quarter. So that was January, February, and March. Now we're looking at April, May, and June. Re-establishing boundaries, balance, and realizing that you don't have to say yes to everybody. So I'm just turning this card in the upright position for a moment. We can see people reaching for you, your time, your energy, your space. We see the card in reverse, which means it's hard to say no. It's hard to disappoint. It's hard to push back, but it's essential. Because the cool thing with the Six of Pentacles is all this work that you were going through here to create a positive change, it's paying off here. This is more than enough. It's not ridiculously enough, but it's more than enough. So this means that you have enough to take care of yourself and others, and then you have a little bit of contingency, a little bit of a rainy day fund when it comes to time, energy, and money. We want to build upon that and go to the 7, 8, 9, 10 of Pentacles, which we were seeing for you. So definitely the key to that is yes to this, no to that, or instead of doing it this month, doing it next month or 2 months from now. You have time. Play around. I always like to mention there are 3 things that you focus on with the balancing cards. It's either your time or your money or your scope of what you're working on. Something has to move around. You're going to either add more money, throw more money at a situation. Sometimes it will solve it. You can remove scope so that you can do more with less, or you can take your time because there'll be more money over time and you can. So one of those things has to happen. And that's your choice sort of like rubric during this period of time. Hey, buddy, wanna say hi to the folks? He's like, no, I'm gonna walk and explore the other room. All right, yeah, you can come back. Come say hi, everyone wants to see you. So for that second quarter, hey, Mr. Apollo. For the second quarter, it's really about focusing on limits and not being afraid to say what matters to you. Thank you, Apollo, for showing up here. All right, let's go back to the next quarter here. So by and large, the first 2 quarters are about money, personal development, growth, and things of that nature. Okay, focusing on the third quarter. So looking at July, August, and September. Okay. The Hierophant, we love this. So talking about organizational energy, boss energy, and structure, this is where it all comes into focus. Also, I really look at what's happened here. We've had people that it's almost like you've trained or modeled the appropriate behavior, and now people have picked up on it. So here people were asking, pushing, trying to get everything. Here they're listening, waiting, and seeing you as more in control. And so now we've gone into major arcana here. So this is a period where if you say something, it has a good chance of happening. If you ask for something, it has a good chance of happening. But it's because you've set the structures together. There is a time and a place for the Hierophant. It's a very organized, very rigid card, but through that comes predictability, sustainability. This is a much more corporate card. It's often associated with things like corporations, churches, and government. Because they have these sort of like rigid structures. So you've spent a lot of time moving things around and it gets organized Q3. It's predictable Q3. And also in that third quarter of the year, you are holding the key to more. And what are you holding the key to? Love, for many of you as we look at October, November, and December. Love and relationships. The love card is reversed. We've got the lovers in reverse. So this is saying you get a chance now to be discerning, to be picky and say, I like this. I don't like this. And people will adjust or listen or something better will come in. If it's not good enough for you, it's not good enough. And that's ultimately what we see here. If you've been waiting for something positive in your life, the lovers can indicate friendship. It's a magnet. It can also be like, attention, focus, positive reinforcement, press, all of that. But we see all eyes on you in a good way, and you get to decide if you like it, if it's enough. And yes, better energy when it comes to love and relationships in the final quarter of the year. And now you're focusing a little less on structural stuff because it's been a kind of like serious year. The first card we got for January, February, and March, more about focusing on changing or establishing a direction. April, May, and June, focusing more on training people to listen to like what it is you want to do, delegating, pushing things out, not saying yes to everything. July, August, and September, everything is now finally organized and structured. Now you get to have some fun. So one thing that you can focus on for the end of the year also could be deciding, you know what, I want to travel. You know what, I want to do something for me. I've spent all this time and energy on building, improving, fixing, balancing. Now I'm going to have some fun. So, you know, maybe you decide, and you could probably get some deals on this, but you could make a trip reservation for the final part of the year so that you have like a carrot to look forward to, a carrot on a string, something to kind of keep you engaged. And I like that quite a bit. Overall, your trajectory is kind of ideal. Change of direction, balance, structure, and love. And the card really wants to be upright. So I like your year ahead. I have a Virgo placement. For me, it's in love. So always cool to see how this shakes down as well. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the meditation. I think we actually got all the way to meditation, believe it or not. We have a couple things. We're going to do a final card as well. So if you're new here, here's what we do here in this final portion. I like to take a moment to kind of just mentally clear our energy for a second. I'll play a singing bowl as well. And then you can ask me one question in meditation silently, whatever I haven't answered. And then I'll pull a collective card for that. Okay? So focusing on meditation and looking at, gosh, there's so many beautiful messages. As I do the quarterly forecast, I just feel like there's cards everywhere because there are. I like what we see here with the mystic, the threshold, and the prayer. I feel like we can almost just focus on the catalyst energy for today, like really setting an intention and feeling like you can break through. I think that's a nice sort of New Year's resolution / meditation. So let's do that together. Okay. And then I'll get my singing bowl in just a moment. All right. So close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, you can stretch a little bit if you'd like to. Relax. And just see yourself feeling this sense of freedom and liberation. Imagine that there's the dawn of a new day and you are connecting with the spirit totem of a butterfly, and you see it gently opening its wings. It's come out of its chrysalis and the wings are still drying. They're still getting ready, and it's sort of figuring out where it wants to go. Take a moment to look at the little box that used to be you, that chrysalis or the cocoon, and look at how much you've outgrown that space. It served its purpose. Take a moment to give gratitude to your chrysalis or cocoon. So say thank you to the year that was. Thank you to the relationships that were, to the experiences that have built you up to this moment. And release them with love and with kindness. They no longer serve you, these things that you've outgrown. Look at the rising sun and gently open up your butterfly wings. Let everything sort of dry off and feel the love and the light shining from that source energy. And when you feel ready and when you feel able, allow yourself to start to gently glide towards that horizon, towards the promise of a new day, towards the beautiful Ten of Pentacles energy, which we saw in this, lovely card here earlier. And maybe see someone there with you walking that path, knowing that better days await, things are getting better, and that you're not doing this alone. All right, I'm going to grab the singing bowl, and then we will look at your final card in just a moment. Keep breathing and just relax.
Take a nice deep breath. Allow yourself to come back into your mind, your body, your spirit. Keep that butterfly with you, knowing that you can reach great new heights, great new things if you allow yourself to. And release the limitations, just like that beautiful Supreme card that we saw, knowing that the best is yet to come, and that sometimes we have to think beyond the beyond to really allow for that beauty to come in. Okay. Focus now on your final question that you have for me. If you haven't already done so, please open your eyes and think about one last thing that maybe I haven't had a chance to cover yet. I'm going to shuffle the cards and we'll take a look. Okay, we have the Five of Swords. Interesting messages with this. So if you were asking a question with a yes/no answer, this would be no. But let's talk about all the things that the Five of Swords has to say. First of all, Five of Swords is a reminder that there may be something or someone in your life that it's just not worth the time and energy to try to fix or to try to deal with them. Sometimes it's a boss or coworker, could be a friend, or a family member a lot of times, because you're kind of stuck with those Five of Swords family members. So what you want to do is be careful not to engage. She's actually enjoying, I mean, it's a graphic image, but she's enjoying the drama that happens when someone argues with her. So there could be someone in your life where they just kind of get a kick or kind of get this sort of energy from argumentative back and forth discourse. So what you want to really do is just let it go. This can also be a situation in your life where you just think to yourself, the energy that I put into it, I'm not getting back either, because it just feels like it's a no-win. Typically, it's not worth the energy. So if you don't feel good after doing something or after spending time with someone, it's time to move in a different direction. The 5 is usually partnered with the 7. So we look at this ability to be accountable and take criticism with then seeing someone that really just doesn't listen at all. So someone's not listening. That's the main thing. Listen to yourself, listen to others, and if others can't sort of like return that same energy, then this is a harbinger of change. And so part of the Wheel of Fortune that we were looking at in the first quarter would be deciding to separate from that, okay? But overall, if we're just looking at this as an aspect of you, be honest with yourself. Give yourself a chance to do what's right, and don't talk yourself into doing something that you don't like either, because the 5 and 7 of Swords can sometimes push us to do things that we don't want to do. But overall, this is an easy one to recognize. It either feels right or it doesn't, and if it doesn't, don't force it. And that's the way I could summarize that card. Okay. All right. My friends, that brought us to the end of today's reading. You're the first reading that I did in the new space, so I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy the green background too. It's nice to have trees again. So, and Apollo is loving his little space behind me. I miss having him right on the couch by me, but this is better for him. Better for my posture. I actually was able to do the reading a lot easier because I wasn't like slouched over. So I do appreciate like having a proper place to do all of this. Thank you so much for being present today. If you did enjoy today's reading, a reminder to please give me a like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Oddly enough, a lot of times I notice that up to 50% of the people that watch the videos don't subscribe. If you are watching on TV or something, when you have a chance, go to your phone and just subscribe if you haven't already. And then, like I said, for engagement when it's on replay, leave some thumbs up, some emojis, say which, let me know what you thought about this. Follow me across social media as well. Remember, I don't offer private readings. I don't use direct messages. So that's a good way to sort out any imposters. And if you want to give back and say thanks, you can still do that right now. I'm going to actually say a little bit of gratitude here for all of you that have been present. So give me a moment to welcome new members and to say thanks to any new sticker givers today. So give me just a second here for memberships first. All right. So for the newest members, let's see here. Welcome to Jonathan Verge after 12 months rejoining. I appreciate that. And Conscious Candace, thank you for rejoining after 14 months. We also have Sonia Solter, Dr. Liz Demi, Kelly Eimers, I think it is.
I can't pronounce the next name. The last name I can on that one. Karlar, thank you so much. All of these within the last couple of days have been either joining or renewing. So I appreciate your support and your presence today especially. Okay, for all of you that gave super stickers or super chat, let's take a moment and then we'll wrap up for today. Okay, just a few, so this should go pretty quickly. Thank you, Leslie, for kicking things off today. I appreciate it. Vesta, as I appreciate your help as well. And let's see, yes, here's to a fulfilling growth and growth in 2023 as well. Denise, thank you. Chloe, thank you. And Esmeralda, I appreciate you. Give me a second just to check and make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got everybody, but I'll take a quick look and see if there was any milestones. Nope, I think that's it for today. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's reading. Take care of yourself. I'll be back again tomorrow and then on Sunday. And the daily read should resume tomorrow. So thanks for your patience on that. I needed some time to unpack and to get everything sort of settled. All right. Take care of yourselves, and remember that I'll be doing a couple special readings as well, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I'll probably be live on Christmas as well. More to come as we get further into this month. In the meantime, have a great day. Okay, bye everyone.